Late afternoon settled over the Sharma home. Sunlight filtered through the living room windows as Lata sat quietly on the sofa, sorting through a few household papers. The front door opened. Vikram entered. "Ma?" Lata looked up. "You're home early?" "A little." He removed his jacket and placed it nearby. Lata watched him. There was something different about him. He seemed nervous. "What is it?" Vikram looked at her. "Why do you think something is wrong?" "Because I'm your mother." She set the papers aside. "And you're standing there trying to decide how to tell me something." Vikram gave a faint smile. She knew him too well. He walked farther into the room. "Ma, we're having visitors tonight." Lata frowned. "Visitors?" "Mr. and Mrs. Patel." Lata's expression immediately changed. "Why are the Patels coming here?" Vikram didn't answer right away. Lata slowly stood. "Vikram, what have you done?" "Geeta and I spoke to them last night." Lata stared at him. "You went to Geeta's parents?" "Yes." "After everything your father said?" "Because of everything father said." Lata's face tightened. "What did you tell them?" "The truth." "What truth?" "About Geeta and me." He paused. "About Aarti." Lata's expression hardened. "And the business?" Vikram hesitated. "Yes." Lata turned away from him. "You told another family about what was said inside this house?" "They're not just another family, Ma. They're Geeta's parents." Lata turned back sharply. "And perhaps you should have remembered that years ago." Vikram frowned. "What does that mean?" "You know exactly what it means." Her voice remained controlled, but the anger underneath it was unmistakable. "How many times did I find Geeta in your room?" Vikram fell silent. "And how many times did her mother come looking for her while she was here with you?" "Ma, nothing happened." "That is not the point." Vikram stopped. "You were both young, living under your parents' roofs, meeting secretly while everyone trusted you." She shook her head. "I told you then that it was disrespectful." "We weren't trying to disrespect anyone." "Intentions don't erase behavior, Vikram." Lata looked toward the Patel home through the window. Her parents trusted that when their daughter left their house, they knew where she was. She looked back at him. "And I trusted you to respect this home." Vikram lowered his eyes. "We should have handled it differently." "Yes." A brief silence followed. Then Vikram looked at her. "But that doesn't change how I feel about her." Lata sighed. "No, apparently it doesn't. The Patels know everything now." "And what do they think of all this?" "They haven't given us their blessing." Lata looked surprised. "They haven't?" "No. They have questions, concerns, as they should." Vikram watched her. "Mrs. Patel asked where Geeta would live if we married." Lata's expression immediately became guarded. "And what did you tell her?" "Here." For a moment, no one spoke. Lata stared at him. "Here?" "Yes. In this house? Where else would we live?" Lata slowly shook her head. "You have planned quite a future for everyone without asking any of us." "Ma, you assume your father will give up the marriage he arranged." She stepped closer. "You assume Geeta will become your wife, and now you assume she will simply move into this house and everything will continue as though nothing happened." Vikram looked at her. "She's lived next door to us her whole life. You know her." "Yes, Vikram." Lata's voice became firmer. "I do know her." That answer caught him off guard. "I know the girl I found secretly in my son's bedroom. I know the girl whose parents came looking for her while she was here. And now you're asking me to imagine that same girl entering my home as my daughter-in-law after your father and I have already chosen someone else? Geeta isn't a bad person. I didn't say she was. She paused. But that doesn't mean I want her as your wife. Vikram's face fell. Ma, and what about Aarti? Vikram looked away. Have you forgotten her? I never agreed to marry Aarti. Maybe you didn't. Lata looked directly at him. But your father and I gave her parents our word. Vikram was silent. They welcomed us into their home. They trusted what we told them. They believe their daughter is going to become part of this family. Her voice softened, but her conviction did not. A promise means something, Vikram. What about what I want? And what about Aarti? Vikram looked at her. She didn't create this situation. Yet somehow she is the one who will be humiliated if we go back on our word. Vikram struggled to respond. What am I supposed to say to her mother? She paused. That our son was secretly in love with the girl next door all along? So our promise no longer matters? That's why I'm trying to fix this before it goes any further. It has already gone further. Silence filled the room. Vikram took a breath.
The Patels want to speak to you and Father. Lata looked at him. About marriage? About Geeta and me. And what exactly do you expect from me tonight? Just listen. Lata shook her head. You keep saying that, as though listening has no consequences. I'm not asking you to give us your blessing tonight. He stepped closer. I'm asking you to hear them. Lata studied her son. Please, Ma. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then, I will listen. Relief appeared on Vikram's face, but Lata raised her hand. Do not misunderstand me. His smile disappeared. I gave Aarti's parents my word. She paused. And after everything that has happened, I am not prepared to welcome Geeta into this house as my daughter-in-law. Vikram looked hurt. I will listen because the Patels deserve to speak for their daughter. Her expression softened only slightly. And because you are my son. Vikram nodded. That's all I'm asking. Lata looked at him. Does your father know they're coming? Vikram hesitated. Lata immediately had her answer. Vikram, I was going to tell him. No. Vikram frowned. I'll tell your father. Ma, maybe I should. You've already taken this far enough. Her voice was firm. Let me speak to him. Vikram reluctantly nodded. All right. He started toward the hallway, then stopped. Ma? Lata looked at him. I know you gave them your word. He paused. But please don't ask me to spend my life keeping a promise I never made. Lata stared at her son. Vikram walked away. She remained alone in the living room. On one side was her son. On the other was the promise she and Mahesh had already made to Aarti's family. And in a few hours, Geeta's parents would be sitting in this very room, asking them to break it. Early evening settled over the Sharma home. Lata stood near the living room window, looking toward the Patel house next door. Vikram had gone upstairs. The house was quiet, but Lata's mind was not. She heard the front door open. Mahesh entered, carrying his briefcase. Lata? I'm here. Mahesh walked into the living room. He loosened his ties slightly and placed his briefcase down. Long day. He looked at Lata. She hadn't moved from the window.
Everything all right? Latha turned toward him. Mahesh, I need to tell you something. Mahesh studied her face. What happened? Latha hesitated. We're having visitors tonight. Mahesh frowned. Visitors? The Patels. His expression remained relaxed. All right. He started toward the sofa. Is something wrong next door? Latha didn't answer. Mahesh stopped. He looked back at her. Latha? They're coming to talk about Vikram and Geeta. Mahesh's expression changed. The fatigue disappeared from his face. What? Vikram and Geeta went to their house last night. Mahesh stared at her. They did what? They spoke to Geeta's parents about their relationship. Mahesh's jaw tightened. After the conversation we had in this house. He paused. Vikram went next door? Yes. Mahesh turned away. Unbelievable. Mahesh, I made myself perfectly clear. He turned back toward her. There was nothing left to discuss. Apparently, Vikram doesn't see it that way. Vikram doesn't get to decide when a matter is finished. Latha looked at him. It's his marriage, Mahesh. Mahesh stared at her. Don't start defending him. I'm not. Her voice was firm. I told him exactly what I think. Mahesh waited. I reminded him of the number of times I found Geeta secretly in his room. I reminded him that her parents came looking for her while she was here. Mahesh's expression hardened further. And I told him I haven't forgotten the promise we made to Aarti's parents. Good. But none of that changes the fact that Vikram wants to marry Geeta. Mahesh shook his head. He can want whatever he likes. He paused. He will marry Aarti. Latha watched her husband. There's more. Mahesh looked at her. What else? Latha hesitated. Vikram told the Patels about your ultimatum. Mahesh went still. What did you say? He told them what you said. Mahesh's voice lowered. About Sharma textiles? Yes. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Mahesh laughed once in disbelief. So now the Patels know the private affairs of my family. Their daughter is involved in those affairs now. Because Vikram involved her! His voice echoed through the room. Upstairs, Vikram heard him. He stopped in the hallway. Downstairs, Latha lowered her voice. Keep your voice down. Why? He looked toward the stairs. Is he hiding up there listening? Vikram remained still. Latha stepped closer to Mahesh. The Patels are coming here tonight. Then tell them not to bother. Mahesh, what is there to discuss? He gestured toward the Patel home. I gave my son a choice. I did not invite the neighborhood to negotiate it. They are not the neighborhood. Mahesh looked at her. They are Geeta's parents. She paused. If our son is sitting in their home asking to marry their daughter, they have every right to come here and ask us what is happening. Mahesh stared at his wife. Our son is not marrying their daughter. Then tell them that yourself. Silence. Mahesh's expression changed. Look them in the eye and explain your decision. I owe no one an explanation for decisions concerning my family. Normally, I would agree. She looked toward the Patel house. But this decision concerns their family too. Mahesh said nothing. Latha continued. And we have lived beside those people for years. We've shared meals with them. We've watched their daughter grow up. She looked at Mahesh. Are you really going to refuse to open your door when they come to speak to us? Mahesh's face remained stern, but he didn't answer. Upstairs, Vikram listened. Latha walked toward the sofa. Besides, she sat down, I want to hear what they have to say. Mahesh turned sharply. You do? Yes. You're considering this? No. Lata's answer came immediately. I have not changed my mind about Geeta. Mahesh listened. And I have not forgotten Aarti. She paused. We gave her parents our word. Mahesh nodded. But I want to understand what the Patels expect from us. Mahesh sat in the armchair. I'll tell you what they expect. He leaned back. They expect us to humiliate ourselves in front of the Vermas. They expect us to break our word. And they expect me to reward Vikram for going against his parents. Lata was silent. What do I say to Aarti's father? He looked at his wife. That the promise I made him meant nothing? No. What do I say to Aarti? He paused. That while we were discussing her future, our son was secretly planning one with the girl next door? Lata lowered her eyes. She had asked Vikram almost the same question earlier. Mahesh stood. We gave them our word, Lata. I know. And my word means something. He walked toward the window. For a moment, he stared toward the Patel home. They can come. Upstairs, Vikram's eyes widened. Lata looked at her husband. You will speak with them? Mahesh turned around. I'll listen. But if Vikram believes Mr. Patel is going to walk into my home and convince me to break my word, Mahesh's face hardened. Then my son doesn't know me nearly as well as he thinks he does. Upstairs, Vikram slowly stepped away from the hallway. Arjun's words from that morning returned to him. Listening and agreeing aren't the same thing. Vikram walked toward his room. Downstairs, Lata looked at the clock. It wouldn't be long now. Then... Knock. 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 Lata and Mahesh both turned toward the front door. Upstairs, Vikram stopped. No one moved. Another knock. 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 Mahesh looked at Lata. Lata slowly stood. The Patels had arrived. The knock echoed through the Sharma home. Lata looked toward Mahesh. Mahesh remained beside the window, his expression stern. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Lata walked toward the front door. Upstairs, Vikram stood just inside his bedroom. He had heard the knock. His heart began to race. Downstairs, Lata opened the door. Mr. and Mrs. Patel stood outside. Mrs. Patel offered a polite smile. Good evening, Lata. Good evening. Lata looked at Mr. Patel. Mr. Patel. Good evening, Lata. There was a brief silence. Everyone knew this wasn't an ordinary visit. Still, Lata stepped aside. Please, come in. The Patels entered. Mahesh walked forward from the living room. Mr. Patel greeted him respectfully. Good evening, Mahesh. Mahesh nodded. Good evening. Mrs. Patel greeted him as well. Good evening, Mahesh. Mrs. Patel. The warmth that usually existed between the neighbors was noticeably absent. Mahesh gestured toward the living room. Please, sit. They walked into the room. Mr. and Mrs. Patel sat together on one sofa. Mahesh and Lata sat across from them. For several seconds, no one spoke. Lata finally broke the silence. Would you like some tea? Mrs. Patel gave a small smile. Thank you, but we're fine. Another silence. Mr. Patel glanced around the familiar living room. He had been inside this home many times over the years. Birthdays, celebrations, casual visits between neighbors. Tonight felt different. It's been a long time since the four of us sat together like this. Mahesh looked at him. Yes. Mrs. Patel glanced at Lata. I wish it were under different circumstances. Lata's expression tightened slightly. So do I. Upstairs, Vikram sat on the edge of his bed. He could hear the murmur of voices below.
but not enough to understand what was being said. He clasped his hands together. All he could do was wait. Downstairs, Mr. Patel took a breath. Mahesh. Lata. He looked at both of them. I think we all know why we're here. Mahesh leaned back. I do. Mr. Patel nodded. Vikram and Geeta came to us last night. Mahesh's jaw tightened. They told us about their relationship. Lata looked down briefly. They told us they've been seeing each other for years. We know. Mrs. Patel looked at her. You knew? Lata hesitated. I knew something was going on. She glanced at Mahesh. I didn't know how serious it had become. Mrs. Patel's expression changed. I didn't know anything. Lata looked at her. Mrs. Patel's voice remained calm. There were times I came here looking for Geeta. Lata said nothing. You knew she was here with Vikram. Lata hesitated. Sometimes. Mrs. Patel stared at her. Why didn't you tell me? The question caught Lata off guard. I spoke to Vikram about it. But you didn't speak to me. For a moment, no one spoke. We were neighbors, Lata. Her voice wasn't angry. It was hurt. I trusted that if my daughter was in your home, I didn't have to worry about her. Lata's expression softened slightly. You're right. Mrs. Patel looked surprised. I should have told you. A brief silence followed. But I also told Vikram that what they were doing was disrespectful. On that, we agree. Mr. Patel looked at his wife, then at Mahesh. We're not here to defend the way they handled their relationship. Mahesh finally spoke. Good. He looked directly at Mr. Patel, because there is nothing to defend. Mr. Patel remained calm. They were wrong to hide it from us. He paused. But they're not children anymore. Mahesh's expression hardened, and whether we approve of how this began or not, we have to deal with what is in front of us now. And what exactly do you believe is in front of us? Mr. Patel looked at him. Two young people who say they love each other and want to marry. Mahesh gave a humorless smile. Marriage. He shook his head. Vikram has already been promised to someone else. Mrs. Patel looked at him. Vikram told us about Arti. Then you understand the situation. We understand that you and Lata gave Arti's family your word. Exactly. But did Vikram? Mahesh's eyes narrowed. What difference does that make? Mr. Patel paused. A great deal, if he's the one expected to marry her. The room fell silent, and Mahesh stared at Mr. Patel. Be careful. Mr. Patel's expression remained composed. I'm not here to insult you, Mahesh. Then don't question how I handle my family. I wouldn't. He paused. If your decision involved only your family. Mahesh leaned forward. What is that supposed to mean? Mr. Patel looked directly at him. Your son has asked to marry my daughter. That makes it my concern, too. Mahesh said nothing. Mr. Patel continued. I'm not asking you to make a decision tonight, and I haven't given Vikram and Geeta my blessing. That caught Mahesh's attention. You haven't? No. Lata glanced at Mahesh. Because I have questions. He looked around the Sharma living room. Questions about the life my daughter would have if she married into this family. Mahesh's expression changed. What exactly are you implying? I'm not implying anything.
He remained calm. I'm asking what any father should ask before giving away his daughter. Mrs. Patel spoke. We asked Vikram where Geeta would live if they married. Lata immediately knew where the conversation was going. He said here. Mahesh nodded. Naturally. Mrs. Patel looked at him. Naturally? This is his home. Yes, she paused. But would it be hers? Mahesh stared at her. Lata's expression changed. Mrs. Patel continued calmly. You have chosen Arti to be your daughter-in-law. She looked at Lata. You have already given her family your word. Then back at Mahesh. So, if Vikram married Geeta instead, would my daughter truly be welcome in this house? No one answered. Upstairs, Vikram sat silently on his bed, unaware of the question being asked below. Mrs. Patel looked from Mahesh to Lata. I'm not asking whether you would allow her to live here. She paused. I'm asking whether you would accept her. Lata looked toward Mahesh. Mahesh's face remained unreadable. Mrs. Patel waited. Finally, Mahesh leaned forward. You want the truth? Mr. Patel looked at him. That's why we came. Mahesh's eyes settled on Mrs. Patel. Then I'll give it to you.